Hello, my name is Peter Parf. Welcome to the new Brit workshop. I've got some exciting news about the Parf guide system, some information about some new products that go with the system, and also some tips which have been sent in by one of my viewers. Now, if you're not familiar with the Parf guide system, I'll put some links to some introductory videos up on the screen now. You just click on those and that'll take you in a new window straight to the video about that particular subject. But I'll give you a quick idea. It's a system which allows you to create custom workbench tops with an array of 20mm holes which are absolutely at right angles to each other, which means then you can set up your own cutting station for your track saw, which you saw me doing just a few seconds ago, and that gives you the ability to do perfect 90-degree cuts time and time again. You can also do perfect 45-degree cuts time and time again. But let me tell you the good news. Now, the good news is that for everyone who's in North America, Lee Valley are taking on the Parf guide system and have it in stock now. Now, Lee Valley create the Parf dogs, which are essential to the system, and also the associated small bench dogs. And so it's the perfect home now for customers in North America to go to Lee Valley to get the Parf guide system. Now, Axminster Tools and Machinery have been producing bits and cutters which fit the Centratec fixing in a Festool drill, and they've been doing this for a while now. And one of their innovations is to produce a cutter for the Parf guide system which has the Centratec fitting on it. Now, the advantage of that is that it's then very easy to pass the cutter through the 20mm guide block and then attach it to your drill. Now, one or two people have had some mishaps with their cutters and they've dropped through the 20mm guide block and then damaged the tip on the floor. So Axminster have included this little stop collar which just fits on like so, tighten it up, and then that will stop it from dropping through. Now, this is available as an optional extra. It's a little bit more expensive than the original cutter, which is still supplied with the Parf guide system. Now, you may have noticed when I was doing that cut just now that I've got these clips on my guide rail. Now, these are a UJK product from Axminster Tools and Machinery, and they just slip onto the guide rail. They're sold in pairs. And they're sold under the UJK name. And the beauty of them is that they're stiff enough such that you can raise the guide rail on the Parf dogs and move your piece of wood around underneath, and then you just push it down into place, and the clips are keeping the guide rail snugly against the Parf dogs. Now, I think that's a really good innovation. Now, there's a chap called Doug Smith. He's from Montana in the United States, and he's a great fan of the Parf guide system, and we've corresponded a few times. And he's asked me if I'd mention a couple of points that he's made, and these are really good points, and so here we go. The first one he mentioned was guidance for what pattern of holes you might need if you're creating, let's say, a custom track saw cutting station like this one, or a custom bench top. Well, I think it's all down to personal preference, but my track saw cutting station is laid out very simply. I've got my holes laid out in the normal sort of 96mm pattern, which is what you do with the Parf guide system, but my end hole for the top Parf dog here, I'd be operating from that end, and the bottom hole there, those are set apart and they're at the furthest extremes of my cutting station. And the row of holes that I would use for placing my piece of wood to be cut against are in the next 96mm level inwards. And so that's where I'd normally push my piece of wood up against for cutting. And that means that when you get to the end of the cut, there's absolutely no way that your track saw is going to be interfered by the Parf dog at the end. I then have a second set of holes here, which if I'm cutting narrower stock and I don't wish to lean quite so far across, then I can put my smaller bench dogs in that set of holes there. Now I've left quite a few 3mm holes around the place so that I can add more holes if I need to. And not so long ago I did need to add a couple of holes down there somewhere because I wanted to cut some perfect 45-degree cuts on here. And so I needed a few extra holes in certain places over there. So that was quite useful, having those 3mm holes left behind so I could develop the cutting station a little further. If you're making your own custom bench top, then it may be that you want to use it for jig work, and you might then require a lot more holes than I've shown here. And that really is something that you need to work out for yourself. Now, Doug's mentioned a couple of other things which are, I think, very valid and useful. And the very first thing I'll show you is a picture of his dust sled or hose sled. And it holds the end of the hose so that when you're using the 20mm guide block to drill the 20mm holes, you've got both hands free to do the drilling and so on. And when you move on to the next hole, you just slide that hose holding sled just over a little bit. It stays in place quite nicely on the worktop, and away you go. And I think that's a very clever idea, and I'm sure it was very simple to make. Doug suggested that I emphasize the type of oil you use on the shaft when you're cutting the 20mm holes using the guide block. It does need to be reasonable quality, like 3-in-1. Don't use WD-40 because that's not really designed as a proper lubricant in this type of application. And finally, Doug's mentioned quite an obvious, but it's quite a clever point. You might not think of it. If you're trying to cut a pattern of holes which are due to be absolutely symmetrical in a piece of wood, which is perhaps going to be your custom bench top or whatever, and you're not sure how to lay it out exactly, well, just do it on a piece of wood which is bigger than you need. Cut your pattern of holes and then trim it afterward. You can then trim it very easily so those holes are nice and symmetrical to the edges. So thank you very much, Doug, for your help there. So there we go, that's the end of this short video, just to give you an update on the Parf Guide system. Lee Valley is the place if you're in North America and you want to get the Parf Guide system. Axminster are now doing those clips for the guide rail, and also the new Centratec 20mm cutter, which is something you can purchase separately, and that comes with a stock collar as well. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.